Welcome to the Four Rings Inn. Grab a drink and settle in. This is Innsight, the show where our storytellers of the campaign City of Shadows spill the secrets on the previous episodes. The campaign has begun!
Woo! Yeah!
Oh my goodness.
I am your innkeeper of the evening, Aubrey, and with me are the certified sad boy, Jacob, the heartbreaker herself, Victoria, and the innkeeper who left a level 1 character in a room all by themselves to die at the hand of the depraved, John.
That's me.
Let's get into it. Okay, starting off, this is a gothic horror campaign, and if you guys didn't know, we all spent months world building the world of Athirian and the country of Halidor and the city of Thalia to build up this experience. What was that like?
I know in the very beginning we tried to make our lives easy and force the characters to stay in the city so we didn't have to world build anything past that. That didn't work.
No, that group, because then it was like, okay, well, what's the religion in the city?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are the gods? What does that mean for the rest of this country? What does that mean for the rest of this? It snowballs so quickly out of hand.
Oh, yeah.
We're playing in a city, but we as world builders built the whole country's
Everything.
politics.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Like the iceberg where you're only supposed to build the top and like assume the rest is down there. We built a lot of the rest that we didn't need to touch.
Which is why it took a year.
Yeah.
That's why it took a year. Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, it was exciting to do. It was fun, you know, like, It wasn't like just a year of work. It was a year of like, all right, like just thinking and planning, and it was like fun to hop on and be like, all right, what are we building next? What do we get to create? Like, it was a fun process.
Well, and I think that's something that makes us a little bit different, because typically you have the GM who's building everything and then presenting this world to the players. But instead, we completely co-opt it.
Mm-hmm.
Our characters are so immersed in this city. Like, I feel like such like a better player, like with my character, that I know more about the city. Like, I'm not just in a new city learning it for the first time. Like, I feel like I know the ins and out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've done 2 episodes in Athirian, and I feel like I know that world way better than I ever knew Faerun, which I played in for 9 years.
Yeah.
So
it's been tougher, not hard, but just harder than other campaigns to like seed in secrets, only because as soon as I mention something new, everyone's like, that's not something that we built together. Like that's something that's and that's different. Like, I know as soon as I mentioned the ceremony of the bells, which is coming up in 2 days, everybody was like, what was that? What the heck was that?
I think that's the first note I wrote down on my piece of paper, actually.
I will say, as the GM planning for this, there were a couple times where like I built a bunch of stuff and then came to you guys for some inspiration and stuff, and then ended up just scrapping everything and be like, no. Like I there was one time I remember talking to Aubrey specifically where we had chatted about it, and I was like, cool, everything that I've written is not as cool as what we've just come up with, so everything's gone and this is the new stuff.
That also kind of brings us into, we did session zeros, of course, but we also spent a lot of time like really dedicated to what we want our characters to be. We're not playing straight like Dungeons and Dragons or any type of TTRPG. We've kind of modified, we've created our own stats. I think you guys probably saw we did a legend roll, which John was like, lore legend. That's because we literally built that, and like it's not part of a normal system. Like, you play a system for years, and then we came in and we modified it to what we want. Our character creation is also completely different than standard levels. It's like a point buy for features and systems, and it might be broken. We'll find out. We've done one-shots and stuff with it, but we'll keep working. With that, what were some of our like initial starting points, inspirations? Like, what was that character building process like? And we'll start with Victoria.
For Oriana, I took a big focus in like the Medusa story and how she has a lot of like religious trauma and how she grew up like within a religious organization and then was kind of betrayed by that. And then kind of coming into her own and being this like new powerful woman who can kick ass. And I was like, how can I take that story and put it into my own character? And so that was kind of where Oriana came from. And it took a long time to figure out what, like, I know our system's different, so we don't have like specific classes, but I was trying to figure out like what kind of like class path do I want her to take?
Yeah.
Now I kind of get to like combine a couple of like the class features that I like to like make this character, and I'm really excited for like future episodes to come out where I get to show like how unique like how unique this class building system is.
What about you for character building? I know you were our little struggle bus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew immediately what vibes I wanted. Yes. And then specifics from there were kind of a mess.
You were actually the easiest for me to build stuff in the plot.
Cheers to you. I struggled for months, dragging Aubrey down with me.
Well, you knew you wanted a lord right away.
Right. So right away, I knew I wanted to be a lord, which played perfect into the gothic horror. We're in a city. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Basically, right away, immediately, I built a family tree. Like, in-depth. First names, last names, middle names, lore, family heirlooms, whole thing, ages, births, deaths. Yeah, it's huge. And that's about where that stopped for a couple months.
Yeah.
I very much so wanted to be the Ron Weasley in Harry Potter. I didn't want to be special. I wanted to be a part, but like not standing out.
Not main character energy. Right. You wanted the wizard aspect.
Yes.
And we completely built, I know we haven't seen it yet on camera, so I'm very excited for that. No spoilers.
We might not see it.
But anyways, you can see runic magic and the siphons, and obviously we'll get more and more into that. But that was all you, really.
That came in the 2 months in between the family tree and the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did. The magic idea I kind of stole from a Netflix show I watched many years ago, and I just really liked the vibe. And so we took it in very broad strokes and changed it entirely. Yeah.
The spheres, the siphons, and the wells have some really cool like aesthetics to them, but also like as soon as we built them, we're like, this is so fundamental to the rest of the world. Like so many things were built around that.
For Eleanor, I actually started wanting like a Barbie barbarian. Like I wanted a girly pop barbarian.
Yeah, you did.
And then that completely went away. I became obsessed with the song Mirror Ball by Taylor Swift.
Yep, that's accurate.
And we listened to it so many times, and she was already going to be a gnome. And so like this idea of like standing like up on your toes and trying to like be whatever everyone else around you needs you to be, and like reflecting the world off yourself, I was just so obsessed with. And it snowballed from there. I shaped her parents' relationship. I shaped like her personality, total class switch. Everything changed because of Taylor Swift, as all things should.
I think it's really fun basing a character off a song. Like I know like for Oriana, like to try and figure out her personality a little bit, I have like a playlist on Spotify that like these like 10 songs are all like get me in the mindset of Oriana. And like before we play, or when I'm like trying to like think of ideas for her, or like I'm driving in the car, I'll play my Oriana playlist. And, like, all right, time to get in that mindset. Like what are we thinking? Like how are we feeling? And so I love basing characters off of music. I think that's a great way to create them.
Let's discuss our character relationships, because I think the biggest thing is something Victoria requested and wanted right off the bat.
It wasn't my fault. I swear to God, it wasn't my fault.
Exes.
Yeah, I originally had the idea that I wanted my character to have that relationship with another character, to be exes. Originally out of comedy, because I thought it would be really funny, and I didn't think it would be like exes from like a serious relationship. I thought it would have been like a summer fling, and like they know each other's sex life or whatever, and I thought that would just be a funny comedy piece to just like throw in the middle of combat, you know. And then we kept talking about it, like what our characters actually were, what we were expecting of them, and like the development. And then it turned into like, no, they were probably in a serious relationship. That relationship probably lasted a long time. They probably wanted to get married. Like it was probably like the real deal. And then it turned into being like this really deep relationship that we still broke them up. And now it's like, oh, now that's like sad backstory, and it's not just for comedic humor.
We did do a pre-session of the breakup.
Oh
yeah, we played it out.
I sat there. I wasn't in it obviously at all, and I just sat there like I feed off of relationship stuff. I honestly went into it. We were talking about our wants, and I was like, I want Bridgerton. I want drama. I want relationships, and so I love witnessing this ex's encounter. What was it like for Oriana and Renshore seeing each other for the first time from 10 weeks?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I mean, I feel like I wore my heart on my shoulders, sleeves on that one. It was pretty fucking difficult. But when we played that breakup scene, Oriana specifically used the word break. And so Renshore held on to that word with all the strength he could. And so those 10 weeks were just like, he was just waiting for her to show back up. And she didn't. And he had to go and like meet her at a third location where she didn't really care.
Yeah, my heart breaks for Renshore. Like, as a player, my heart breaks.
Would it make you feel better if I got rid of him? If
No.
I removed him from the
If he dies at like the first 5 minutes of episode 3.
I think that would be worse.
That would be worse?
That would be worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
She had no idea, like, how sad he was. Obviously, like, she was feeling really sad about the breakup. And, like, she wasn't happy. She's not happy in it. But she didn't realize how unhappy Renshore also was.
Well, especially when he goes, has enough time passed? Are you ready to get back together? You killed me with that.
Every line was so good.
It was so good.
Here's my one chance to get her back. It's been 10 weeks. I see her for the first time. She obviously has never responded or read any of my letters.
She said she read them.
After.
She told Eleanor she read 5.
She read half of them.
With the ball, I think that was something that I requested from John. We knew that all of us were in agreement. We're like, Gothic horror, we need to start at a ball. But I was like, what if my family hosted? What if it was the fall equinox? Like, how much can I milk this shit? So I very much went into that from a party planning like standpoint, and I think that definitely showed with Eleanor's anxious hosting skills. But Oriana seemed to have gone in with like a master plan. Like, you knew people you wanted to talk to.
The agenda.
Yeah, which was crazy because I was like, going into this session, I was like, I'm not the noble. Like, I don't really know too many people here. And I ended up, and I didn't even want, like, Oriana did not want to be at this party. Like, she's at this party because Eleanor asked her to. And she's like, as like her best friend, she's like, I will be there for you, I'll support you. It's the first time you are hosting like such a major event. And so Oriana was just there for Eleanor, and then I ended up being the most social character. Oriana, I guess she was on a mission. Like, I got into that role and she was like, we're talking to these people, we're looking for information, and I'm gonna get this information. And I was like, okay girl, you do you. Okay. I guess that's how we're playing.
I love it when the character kind of takes control and they've become their own person enough that happens.
I think the time I felt Oriana take control the most was when the first time Renshore and Oriana were together alone at the ball. Like, the first time, like, Eleanor walked away and it was the two of them. And the first thing Oriana did was fix his hair. That was, for me, a moment. I did not plan that. Like, I said it and I was like, what am I saying? And I was like the first time, like, in the session, it was still pretty early on, that I was like, Oriana just took over, and I was like, this is what she wants to do. This is in the moment. She's going to fix his hair. And then that happened, and I was like, what did I just do? So when we saw our dead body, which I think is still so fun for, like, these nobles being forced into this, there was a little bit of a disagreement along our party.
for what to do.
I still disagree a little bit on how that was handled.
That blows my mind. I was sitting there, Aubrey and Eleanor was like, what the fuck, y'all? Like, we did not just spend months building a world where the culture is so, like, intrinsically tied to reputation and appearance and gossip for us to announce in a party to guards that could then spill those secrets, that the witches that were burning, like, something that looks like it's tied to that just happened in my house at my party.
Yes, but they got into your house. They got out of your house uncaptured.
One of them didn't.
Was to keep them from returning to your house and just killing you.
Honestly,
informing guards would have gotten that person captured.
I think Eleanor would rather, like, 3 more people to have died than to ruin her party. Like, if 3 more people would have been the cost to, like, still look good at the end of the day for the party, like, that's a sacrifice she's willing to make.
Hold on, you're the villain. Like, this is. Did you watch Monsters Inc? You are the villain.
I just think, especially with, like,
Monsters Inc is a chicken reference. 1,000
IRL, I never think that. But as a count, like, I feel like as this noble, and, like, my lifeline is attached to my reputation and the estate and the politics. I don't know. I just think that, you know, especially
kill them all. As long as
they're not that
my
important.
Status.
Yes.
I was really nervous going into that because, I mean, we saw the dead body, and I assumed we were all going to be on a similar page, and we were all on very different pages very quickly.
I'm surprised there was 3 pages to be on.
I was nervous about the argument, but I think it worked out really well because it showed our 3 different characters, like, their different mindsets. It showed a lot of their personality, what was most important to them.
Yeah.
And so I think at the end of the day, like, our characters weren't mad at each other. They just disagreed on something. And so
yeah.
I think
Eleanor was actually freaking out.
Yeah.
She did not like that's probably one of the first times she's been confrontational in front of her friends. But like, she was like balancing this, like, I just want to agree with what my friends are saying and don't cause conflict here. And, like, I need to do, especially because, like, Renshaw also would have gone down and he would have get hit harder socially as a Viscount with less power. That I think she was like, no, you're wrong. I am burning like, I do not care about the integrity of this crime scene more than I care about, like, protecting everyone.
Yeah.
I think you came up with an excellent solution. Like, you got rid of enough things to, at least as far as, like, the next group of people that comes and looks at it aren't gonna have the same issues.
It's like a count who might have murdered like, even if you suspect we did it. Okay. We murdered someone who was, like, doing things they weren't supposed to be doing in, like, the against high society in our business. I think all the counts are killing people. I think that's just society. You know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
you could say this Lucille broke into the study and the guard killed her, and then everyone would be like, like, he had the right to do that.
Like, this is a medieval fantasy world. Our politicians kill people in 2024.
Yeah, so you're like,
I was like, murder, not a big deal. A cultist? No, this needs changed.
This is what Lucille was trying to speak out against.
No, she was trying to speak
and
out
that's why
against
she's
more profiteering.
I'm not profiting off of this. I'm simply
better off than I was before.
All right, y'all, we are going to move into a new section of Insight where we are going to do some insight checks on each other. All of us have prepared questions to ask each other, and we're going to kind of popcorn it around so that way we can get into some, like, juicier individual questions. And to start it off, I am going to ask John.
Yeah, shoot.
Innkeeper.
Yes, it's me.
We kind of touched on it a little bit, but what was it like for you coming at the perspective of your party is now highborns and we're not an adventuring party. We're not going to look at, like, a quest on the wall and take it up. Renshaw wanted to call guards. Like, how does that change how you shape, I know, just this initial encounter, but things you have planned down the line as well?
Yeah, it was tricky at first with you guys all being highborns. It it made me be like, all right, for the combats, it can't be about like just hit points versus hit points. It has to be about like there's an objective, and it's, can we get this objective and not die? Like how many hit points am I willing to risk to get this objective? And so every combat has to either have like some sort of time crunch in it, where like we don't have time for guards, we have to solve this now. It has to have the involvement of like secrecy, which is what I played on for this first episode, of like I don't think we can call guards right now because like reputation or our environment, or things like, the stakes have to be different than just like I'm a knight and I'm a barbarian and I'm gonna hit this thing until it dies. Jake, were you more excited or nervous to play the scene of you finding your grandsire's siphon and journal, knowing that it was something that had to happen, that was integral to your character? Were you like, oh yes, like, this is my chance to get it? Or were you like, I can't mess this up, like this is so important?
So it was very exciting to kind of get into that part of Renshor's character, that part of his life, but very nerve-wracking too.
It was so cute. Yeah. So John Renshore got the journal and will now have to read through it. But John made for Jacob puzzles and papers that are in there for him to go through. And as soon as we were done recording, Jacob's like flipping through it, and he's like, "I get to solve puzzles now!" And it was so cute to like, you got that gift.
John makes some of the best hands-on puzzles I've ever seen, and I looked at it and I didn't understand a thing. I waited for over a year to hold that piece of paper with those illiterate scribbles on it.
But you know what? He only gets to solve it if he lives.
I'm well aware. I've actually been scrambling to try and solve it myself, because I don't want him to die and it to be useless. I gotta ask this one. Victoria, do you see Oriana and Renshore ever getting back together after their break?
After their break. It's a really tough question to ask. It's tougher to hear it. I know the real reason that like she broke up with Renshore, and I do want them together. But like from Oriana's point of view, like you don't really know where she's coming from at that. Like you just kind of have to like just keep watching and find out. Like you just have to kind of keep asking her those questions and find out where her mind is at, because she is somewhere different than my point of view. Yeah. I will ask Aubrey. So Eleanor, we watch her draw a perfect rendition of the crime scene. Yeah. And I think my overall question is, why art? what was the process in building her backstory and like mechanically for having these artistic abilities? Like, where did that come from? Why is she such a good artist? How did that happen?
I just really loved this idea of a character who, like, she's a count right now, but because we're in a fantasy world and she's a gnome, she will live for so long, and she has such a life compared to humans that she gets to live before she has to like fully become like the count and take over from her mom. And so I was like, what is like her goal in the meantime? Like, what is she doing? Yeah. So then once I had art, I also asked John, I was like, can Eleanor have minor illusion, but instead she can just like perfectly render spaces, which is totally based off of Shalyn from the Stormlight Archive.
Yeah, it's a really cool ability. It's fun to see. I'm excited to see how that evolves in the campaign and how her art like influences like, obviously we're just level 1 characters, and knowing we're going to go on a campaign, we're going to get higher levels, hopefully, if we all survive. And so I'm just curious to see how that's going to evolve, like her artistic abilities and how we use it in other scenarios and circumstances. It'll be cool.
It'll be fun.
I'm actually going to pass it back to Victoria.
Whoa. Oh my goodness.
Oriana has recently given up her journey to become a scion, this like high religious structure that her dad is. How did it feel, and did you know ahead of time that I think it was Atwood or Stoneworth was going to kind of like proposition Oriana to get in good graces for someone to replace your seed.
That was like a huge part of like her backstory, is that she has been training for this role, and she was expected by her family, expected by society to fulfill this role for her entire life.
Yeah.
And even if like she gives off this presence that like, oh, she's moved on, I have a new job, I'm trying to find myself, I'm doing good, I know that it's still like it's still painful for her. And I know I mentioned it once to Renshaw that her father doesn't even know. Like, she didn't tell him, I'm not going to fill your shoes. I took a different job. I'm currently not training for this position. And so I think that might stem from like a little bit of hope in her, that like, maybe not all hope is like, maybe I'll still somehow be able to fill this role one day. Like maybe it's not gone.
Yeah.
Popcorn, over to, I'll ask you a question, my lovely GM.
Yeah, I'm also your husband, but it's fine.
Lovely GM. Do you have a favorite NPC to play already? Either one that we've already seen in episode 1 or 2, or maybe one that you're cooking up in the background that we haven't seen yet. But do you have a favorite in this campaign?
Of the NPCs I made, I think the favorite one that I have is yet to make an appearance.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I think I have some fun ones. You both had mentioned getting like another investigator in on this case.
Yeah.
And the NPC I just fleshed out for the investigator, I'm very excited about. I think I'm gonna have a fun time embodying them.
Did you just do that?
It sounds like
the most recent NPC.
Yeah, 100%.
So your favorite one is your most recent one.
I think they're going to be up there. I haven't like played around with any voices or anything with them yet, but my idea for them is pretty fun. And honestly, I think I'm really enjoying Florian Quillen. I get a kick out of her, and so she's fun to play. Cool. Aubrey, do you think Eleanor has any suspicions that Florian or Arthas were actually involved with the murder in the study?
None.
Okay.
None. She absolutely does not think for a second that either one of them was a part of it.
Perfect.
I just have to say, you are the worst detective I've ever heard of. Like,
no suspicions.
The entire crime scene.
I collected the evidence.
No, you didn't.
I did a sketch. I collected the evidence.
You immediately dismissed two immediate suspects. Immediately dismissed them. He's like, any inkling? None at all.
No.
That's why.
None.
In the locked study where both of them were last seen, like, couldn't be anyone else. Like,
no, she has completely, like, there is not even a little bit of Eleanor that's like someone that I'm that close to could be dealing with, like, the depraved, the witches, like, that's so far. That's like hearing, like, thinking that your parents that you've known your entire life are part of the mafia. Like, no, they're not. I'm not jumping to that.
That's fine.
Renshaw.
oh, okay.
You're clearly not over Oriana.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, unfortunately, we haven't seen you do, like, anything with the siphons or the mage. What we know is that you are a certified sad boy.
Yeah.
Arthas was like, hey, you need to find a new suitor.
Yeah.
And as an heir, you're gonna need to marry. And you're gonna need to produce heirs. How is Renshaw feeling about being told you need to find someone other than Oriana? Like, we need to move on and uphold these family duties.
This is a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like there's an obvious answer. Right.
He's sad.
He's sad. But at the same time, like, he's sad for more reasons. Like, Renshaw, third board son, like, was not expecting to have to fulfill these duties in the first place.
Renshaw does have a lot to be sad for.
But he's just really sad. Yeah. He's got a lot to be sad for.
Poor guy.
Yep.
Little guy.
Mm-hmm. And now he's gonna die. He's gonna die sad.
He's not
Honestly,
gonna die.
He's gonna die
He's
sad.
not gonna die.
When we were doing the photo shoot for thumbnails, we wanted a picture of him with his dad and like John kind of taking on that persona.
Oh, God.
And my favorite thing ever, I was like, act meek towards your dad, and he goes, and it was the funniest. I was like, that's not going on a thumbnail. That doesn't exist.
Oh, we needed to keep that. I sent letters.
Yeah.
I sent letters.
I sent letters is so funny.
I sent letters.
That's so amazing.
I personally prefer the follow-up and.
Oh, the and is broke me.
Yeah, the and was
You
bad.
said and I crumpled.
And
we did watch Bridgerton to prepare for this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We rewatched Bridgerton.
We did.
I laughed so hard when you said it because, like, I couldn't have written a better line for you to say. If I was a script writer, I
Did you
couldn't.
prep that?
Not at all.
It was so good.
amazing.
It was
Thank you.
like I feel like I'm making fun of you a lot, but it
was so good in the moment.
Genius. It was so good.
John, there is a lot going on in terms of proprietary within high society. How do you plan on balancing the social rules and like the culture that we built up? Because there's a lot. We know there's a lot while we're playing live at the table.
I think my biggest rule of thumb is if we can tell that it's clearly an accident, then we'll retroactively be like, oh no, he meant, the Count Heir Eleanor Quillen. But if we can if I suspect or we can tell like, oh no, like you're being like facetious, then I'd love to be able to play into that.
Yeah.
If you think somebody slighted you, to be like, whoa, did that guy just slight me? Like, did he just call me by my first name? Like, was he trying to do that? And so, the more experience we have with it, the better we'll get, the more experience we have in the world. And I think that hopefully the more horrible things get, the less people care about titles and the more they just want to be alive. Victoria, were you nervous to reveal Oriana's scar on her chest, or were you excited to get out some of that character lore that you've kept secret, even from the other players, for quite a long time?
Yeah.
Quite a good chunk of character building.
I think I was more excited to share it because there's so much of the backstory that I've built that I just want to like spill to everyone and be like, this is what I built. I want to share like the little world like that I built for Oriana and like what she's living in and stuff. Because like the scar was like really important for like to set up her story because it's something that's like really physically holding her back. Like she wouldn't get changed with her best friend Eleanor in the room. She had to pick a dress that completely covered it up and even more so like she was so insecure about herself that she didn't want to like dance with Eleanor on the dance floor. Like it's holding her back from so many things. It's something that like she personally
got secondhand embarrassment so bad from that. I like was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I asked her to dance like just as a friend and she turned me down and I keep thinking about that.
I feel so bad about that. She's just really insecure about herself right now. And I think that was like an important setup to like show like who like what she's dealing with right now. Jake, how are you feeling knowing that you're going into the next session 1v1 against a depraved? All alone. Well,
again, there's an obvious answer here.
I'm so scared for you.
Hope for high rolls.
I just try not to think about it. Honestly, it's been a couple days since we filmed that episode, and I've just been trying not to think about it.
You'll be fine.
If Renshaw dies, oh my god.
If Renshaw dies, like I just expressed how difficult it was to build this character. I don't know.
Hard part. Yeah.
I don't know what it's
gonna be 10 episodes before Jacob shows up again because he's gonna need that time to build a new character.
I don't have a backup character. I know that we discussed a horror campaign, and we told John, we were like, don't take it easy. Like hit us.
And then I hit him and they get mad.
I should have thought of a backup character.
I know. I'm so worried because I think you make really bad combat decisions.
That's really rude.
And
made a bad decision in my life.
That's funny. No, I will say, like, as a GM for the three of you, I think Jake and Tori will always go for like the fun or exciting thing during combat, and I know for a fact Aubrey's gonna make the best decision, and like that's just it. And I planned combats knowing that I was like, Aubrey's gonna is gonna look at it as like a board game and be like, I know the right decision. Like
I literally organize my spells by like what will do the most damage. Like when I play spellcasters in the past, or like the weapons, I'm like looking at it. I'm like, what will likely hit the hardest, and like that is what I'm using.
That's so smart. I've always just ordered mine alphabetically. Rensher just really wants to make it through so he can be there for Oriana.
Oh, that's so sad.
Don't say that.
That's so devastatingly sad.
That was my Hunger Games answer. I feel like
that was a very Hunger Games answer.
Rensher is very Peter Miller.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
I didn't put that together until you just.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think Oriana does give Katniss too.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Certified independent badass, absolutely.
Yeah, look at you.
I don't think
I'm not Gale.
None of us planned this.
No,
like,
I know that makes so
this
much
is coming
sense.
together.
That makes
right now.
so much
Why
sense.
am I Effie?
You are Effie.
That's so funny.
Oh my god, that's perfect. That's exactly who they are.
Yeah. I haven't read the book from the movie. Yeah.
Oh my god, you are such a Peeta. I am such a Katniss, and you are such an Effie Trinket. Oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
Hey, at least you know. Hey, at the end they end up together.
That's true.
That's true.
So that to give you some hope.
That's true.
But how do you feel, Jake, about going into this 1v1? Are
you
confident, or do you feel like you have any fighting skills?
There's so many options, you know. I can run.
You can run.
Or I could throw my most valued possession at it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Well, and I think we've been hyping this up because as soon as the camera stopped last time, John was like, by the way, like, this creature has the chance, if they roll super well, to utterly kill you in one shot.
One hit.
Yeah.
Like, that absolutely is terrifying. Like, level 1 going in with 9 hit points is so terrifying.
I mean, it could come down to a bad initiative roll, and I don't even have a choice in what he tries to do.
Yeah. I also think, to me personally, not to speak on your behalf, but if I were in your shoes, I would be most terrified about that 9 AC that you're rocking. Like,
oh, I'm well aware.
I've never played a character with 9
I think it's 8 HP. Like,
yeah.
Ooh.
He's got nothing.
Low.
The only thing he has to his name is that sphere
that he doesn't know how to work.
He doesn't know how to work.
Yeah.
You do not have a level in spellcasting.
The only thing he could do with it is throw it at it.
Chuck it.
Hope to hit it in the eye.
Wait. Oh, I don't want to share it now. I'll tell you after after we're done around John what I would do.
Okay.
Secrets. Secrets.
I would manipulate John like that. That's exactly how I would fix that situation.
That might work.
There you go.
On to someone else's problems.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were very busy at the ball.
I was.
Your two friends were there.
Mm-hmm.
Oriana and Rensher.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic.
Best people I know.
Right. And you enjoyed talking to them, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But if you had time to talk to anybody else there, who would you have talked to?
Honestly, okay, Aubrey doesn't know. I think for Eleanor, she definitely has, like, especially the other noble people that she would have gone to school with and that she would have been close for. Eleanor is, like, obsessed with gossip. She wants to know the tea on everyone. She wants to know, like, the encounters and, like, very involved in that. Like, if Lady Whistledown existed in this world, she would be like the #1 patron to that newspaper. Like, she runs the newspaper, and like, if she could, she would, kind of thing.
She would legally print all of her stuff. She's like, if you come to me,
I don't need to be a secret.
Yeah.
She would keep Lady Whistledown's identity a secret for her, just to keep the papers coming.
Just to keep. Oh yeah.
So I think honestly, she would just be talking to everyone and anyone, and just kind of gossiping, collecting secrets, sharing secrets. Like, just loves being a part of these things. Well, as innkeeper for the evening, I am going to ask one final question for everyone. And something that we talked about earlier is that we did world build and homebrew everything that we're seeing. So I want to know what one singular favorite piece of world building that we've done for Thalia and Blacksplane is from everyone. Maybe we haven't seen it yet, but if you can hint towards it and it's not super spoilery.
Yeah.
We can. Whoever wants to start.
I'll go first because I don't want mine going away.
Good answer.
Good answer.
I have a favorite, and I don't have a backup. I enjoyed like the physical structure of Thalia. Like, where did the materials come from to build the city wall? Where did the materials come from to build the houses? How did all these people get here? Why are they in this area? All of that lore that we did for the physical structure of the city really tickled a fancy.
Yeah, that was a good time.
That's a good one.
That was a good one.
What was your favorite world building piece?
I think most of my favorite stuff hasn't come in yet. I think the High Lord of Blacksbane is gonna be really fun.
That was one of my favorites. Is the High Lord.
I think that was one of my favorites because it was my idea initially, but what it became is so much more than I even planned for.
I think he's going to be my favorite character of the entire campaign, and we haven't even seen him in action yet.
Yeah, so I think
I know, and we know so little, and I'm so excited.
He's my favorite part.
I had the inkling of the idea, and then the three of you just made it so much creepier and so much more powerful than it was before. So I'm really excited for that. I think there's some stuff in the forest in Vermore that I am just so excited for, but I won't say anything about that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think what I really liked, and I guess it wasn't really on screen either, the count. I think about it. The counts and their house animal, or their house pest was fun, and I think fleshing them out was cool. Actually, no, I take it back. My best thing I had was definitely the witch burning and the that
the opening sequence.
that Salem witch trial, New England vibe.
I love the prayer you made and showing the Calorian specific ascended.
Yeah, as someone who's from New England, I was so excited to do that, and it was really I think that everyone really built that up really well, and it was so fun to be able to kick off with that. Yeah, final answer. Burning Witches, my favorite one.
You kind of stole mine a little bit. That one of my favorite pieces is the High Lord that we haven't seen yet.
That's
the High Lord of Blacksbane, one of my favorite pieces. But since that was already said, my next favorite part about world building was making the Novem and the Ascendant. And I think it was fun to go through the Ascendant and be how would this specific god want to be worshipped? Because they're all different and they're all unique, and they don't all want to be worshipped in the same way. They all have some very specific needs that need to be met. And I think it's going to be cool to see how each one of their needs are met as a god in our city.
Yeah.
And so that'll be cool.
Oh, yeah.
I loved so much of the culture stuff. I made a whole chart and table of can we do this for the fashion? I loved the etiquette rules that we kind of put into place and social taboos. I think that's so fun to mess around and deal with. The idea that the three of us went off to the study to get something, and that was okay because it's childhood friends and a group of three, But had Oriana not gone with us, like that might have looked poorly for Renshaw and Eleanor. I think they get a little bit more of a pass as like that such a high like family friend archetype. But like that idea of like those two characters should not be caught alone together, and like those kind of social taboos.
Yeah.
I love the architect of the city. I'm so excited to like leave the ball and like walk down the streets and kind of get to see that. I'm picturing all of these like gothic black rooftops and there's bell towers throughout the cities. We also put in, so we're calling it like the Quillen Keep, because since we have these depraved monsters that like come into the city and attack, the nobles beefed up, and so you have these like beautiful manors and estates, and then they built like castle fortification walls around each home that guards are gonna like walk around, and it's very like Mistborn inspired. Of like now it's also a fortification. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the first episode of Innsight. I hope you liked our pun. I hope you liked getting some behind the scenes details on the world of Athirian, the setting of Thalia, and of course our characters, world building, and DMing process. I am going to roll to see who the host is going to be next time. We all have pre-assigned numbers. Let's see who it is. I'm rolling this D4 with my Eleanor dice, which means it's probably going to do a 1, and it's going to be me again because these dice, I think they're weighted against me, but I'm going to keep using them because they're pretty. That is a 1.
Roll it again.
Okay. A 4. All right.
Well,
John, you are going to be our next host.
Deal. I was worried that if Jake was the new host, he wasn't going to have time between rolling a new character and being the host.
He's going to be fine. He's going to make it out. You have to make it out. You have to be okay. I can't live with myself if you don't.
You didn't solidify our relationship before I died, and I'll never hold it against you.
Renshaw's ghost would haunt Oriana, and just
that's
be
my
like,
next character. I'm just Renshaw's ghost.
Renshaw's ghost. That's funny.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Please give a big like and subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content. It helps us out so much. Please be sure to follow along with our gothic story of City of Shadows and upcoming episodes of Innsight. Until we meet again over another round at the Four Rings Inn.
Yeah.